The year is 2017 and Sincil Bank wants change, so the neighbourhood team moves in and commissions a blueprint. By 2018, funding from the National Lottery's Place-Based Social Action Programme was in place, and the Sincil Bank Community Partnership was formed by the City Council and the Lincoln City Foundation. And in 2019, the project begins in earnest, to revitalise Sincil Bank. So, what has this incredibly diverse partnership actually done? Well, an early success was the general clean-up of the area, combating the rampant fly tipping across the neighbourhood. They've also created safe play areas for children, made a complete road redesign to make the neighbourhood more accessible to the city centre, built new houses on Hermit Street that actually live up to modern standards, residents' parking spaces, CCTV, the list goes on here too. But reading all this and looking at the pictures, yes, it's impressive, but spreadsheets, summary documents and ticking boxes isn't what this is really about. Instead, we'd like to showcase what all this means to some very special people in the community. Those that live and breathe Sincil Bank every day, and those that are taking this drive for change incredibly seriously. Our dive into Sincil Bank's rejuvenation starts with Janice. How long have you lived in the area in Sincil Bank?
29 years now.
29.
Yes, next April will be 30. I grew up with a lovely garden where my father used to grow all our own fruit and veg, so I come from this kind of background anyway.
Janice knows what this area used to be, and so takes immense pride in nursing small planters and gardens to give the area a more welcoming feel.
Conception was just over 3-4 years ago, following lockdown. Initially, there was nothing in these front gardens other than rubbish and furniture and all the things you don't want to see realistically.
Not only do our gardens make the area look a lot more appealing than it was before, it's actively changed the behaviour of the residents.
We have very much a neighbourly culture of sitting on the doorsteps, drinking coffee and chatting. Before it would have been more antisocial behaviour, people drinking and other things that we don't really want happening. Any time I am out here for any amount of time, and it takes 4.5 to 5 hours to water all of these at the moment, every time I'm out here I will have multiple conversations with different people. There are people who are really nice, friendly, international community. We exchange recipes, we cook for each other and things like that, try new things. And I wanted to show that side of things.
There are still challenges, as Janice says, but her dedication to her community shows how important these grassroots level projects are.
It's been a constant and ongoing problem. It still is within the wider Sincil Bank area, fly tipping, rubbish, all that sort of thing. So it was important to try and change. The area itself is slowly getting better.
Steve isn't a resident of Sincil Bank. Instead, he's bringing his own outside expertise in to transform the neighbourhood he knows so well.
I first got involved in 2017 when they decided, this was the council working with the community, decided to produce this thing called a place shaping framework for Sincil Bank.
That framework, as Steve says, brought about many of the changes we've already seen. In that long list, there's now a dedicated neighbourhood team to delivering on the recommendations included in the blueprint and to giving valuable advice to the residents. St Andrew's Garden, which we'll come back to later, and the first Community Land Trust home.
The Community Land Trust, with help from investors in Lincoln and the City Council, has bought this as the first of the houses that we want to acquire, working on behalf of the community to provide good accommodation in the area for families and households that are in need.
Now, Steve of course knows that massive regeneration projects like this don't just happen overnight, but he's confident that these changes will stand the test of time.
Getting the community engaged in the process right from the outset is absolutely critical to it. As I say, get that long-term vision and then just find every means that you can to gradually eat away at it and build towards the vision.
Steve mentioned St Andrew's Garden earlier, and that's where we're going now, to meet G. What were your first impressions when you arrived?
The first impression I liked, being quiet, but I didn't know nothing about, nothing, and I've just been by my own with my child.
Now, G came from Romania to Sincil Bank 9 years ago, speaking very little English and knowing very few people, so she didn't have the confidence to engage with Sincil Bank.
Even if I had at home any flyers, we said, all right, maybe we'll go, but we never did, because we didn't feel confident.
So, as part of the wider project, community events are now more commonplace, one of them being the Friday Fun Day, where we met G. And, as she says, it's these new community family events that's created a sense of belonging for G and her child.
Yes, I feel, maybe I've changed also, but I feel that area have changed. I've been a volunteer community connector for Romanian community, but I help all communities and I spoke with everybody, to be honest. And I like to be present at events.
It's not just the events though. It's the whole project that has enabled G to build a home here, well over 1,000 miles from where she started.
This is about our future, this is about our children, and they follow our example. To be here with children, play together, grown-ups, parents to speak each other and to be as a big family.
Every year, one of the biggest events in the community is Sincil Bank by the Sea, where we met long-term residents Barbie and Anne. And it's here where we really got to see the whole point of grassroots projects like this.
I'm a resident of Sincil Bank for 15 years. My impressions are that they've improved, my impressions of the bank. When I first moved here, it was apparent so early on that it needed a lot of help.
I've been a resident, say, for 49 years. I became involved with the community group after my husband died 15 years ago, and that was just before I met Anne.
It was seeing Barb literally litter picking in the street, and I went out to thank her because it needed doing. And up until that point, I'd kind of always been the impression of, why should you pick other people's rubbish up? And chatted to Barb and realised, I discovered then why you should. It become my community, so I needed to be involved in helping it too. Sincil Bank by the Sea, this is our baby. We love this. We bring the seaside into Sincil Bank for people that can't afford it. Some of the children have never seen the coast. There's a lot of poverty in the area, and we needed something to. We needed it to be free for them. The donkey rides and the sandpits and the circus skills, and it's grown year on year. It's grown, and it's all free. And it's we love it.
Barbie and Anne have both been driving change in this community for years now. But none of this happens if Sincil Bank is unsafe, if the neighbourhood is riddled with run-down buildings and overgrown playgrounds, nor if people like Janice, Steve and G gave up on this place. But they won't give up. Sincil Bank will not give up.
Sincil Bank isn't going to be cured of its ills, so there is more work to be done, and we need to keep going, but we need to keep the momentum. We need more people, we need more volunteers, we need more ideas and more community participation.
This project isn't over. Sincil Bank has a bright future with more funding being secured by the Imps Together programme. The Community Land Trust will continue to develop our open spaces, and Maze Matters will host more events. Lean will be moving into their new home, and the council will continue to develop their relationships with the most important part of this community, the residents.